morning, good evening, good night, good afternoon.
Sometimes it's easier for me to keep going than to quit.
Life is real. You know what I mean? You have to go out there and put the work in.
And if you've never been in the pit at a NASCAR race, do it.
The time you put in while no one is around will be what sets you apart when everyone is watching.
Because a lot of times you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a cool little idea. But once they really understand where you're coming from, the meaning behind it all in your heart, what you really want to accomplish, that's when people dive in. They really get on board with it.
What's up, what's up, what's up? Good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time you're listening in, wherever you're listening from, East USA, West USA, anywhere in the world. Big shout out. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here listening with us right now. Whether you're an AI enthusiast, whether you're hearing the buzzword of AI and you don't know what's going on, I'd like to introduce a very, very special guest. He was recently featured in the San Francisco Standard and donned the hackathon king of the local circuit out there. He's won over 200 hackathons. So really speed tournaments to come up with an idea developed. And you'd think he'd know every line of code, every syntax, every language. But the truth is, he's been using a technique called vibe coding. Way before we donned it vibe coding, he was a pioneer in it. So these are PhDs, these are people with engineering backgrounds that are entering these hackathons, and he's sweeping them, just running them. Was able to speak about vibe coding at WorldCoin recently. Has a product called Agencies that we're going to get into a little bit later, but I just wanted to let you know, Rene, I am absolutely honored to be able to pick your brain. Your track record of not only winning professional Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments, but music shows that you really have a well-rounded strategist mind, and people are speaking very highly, quoted in the New York Times. Anything I miss?
No, shit, man, I got about everything. But yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. My name's Rene. Thanks for having me here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. So I want to go back to the beginning, kind of give a brief overview of what vibe coding is and kind of how you discovered it or got into it.
Yeah, so vibe coding is just basically the act of using AI to build products for you. So for me, I discovered it about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, somewhere around there. I was introduced to ChatGPT, and I one day was asking my head engineer too many times, hey, can you use AI to maybe help with this? And then one day he was like, if you ask me to use AI one more time, I'm going to quit. I'm like, all right. Well, we were bootstrapped, so I knew if I shut down the company, it doesn't really hurt anyone besides myself. So I shut down the company, and I wanted to rebuild the product. And what took my team 2-3 months with 8 people took me 2-3 days by myself. So I went on to just build a lot of shit, and that was my first taste of vibe coding, and that's how I got into it, because I was just angry. And I wanted to see, like, well, if people with 20 plus years of experience in engineering can do all this shit, and I can do like 10 times more than that, like, what else can I do?
Yeah, absolutely. When the mind opens up to vibe coding and the idea of using AI tools to kind of craft your thoughts or your voice, where you become almost a creative director and let the tools do the things that would take your traditional developer hours to do, really in seconds. So that's amazing you were able to hop on, recognize, and it's early in the world. It's early enough that you're seeing it kind of change and grow. Has the software, has the tools changed?
Yeah. I mean, yes. So 2 years ago, we only had we didn't really have any tools. All we really had was could you ask ChatGPT this? Could you copy paste this? And a lot of time people would do it for very small things that would be 3-4 lines of code. And they're like, oh, this is perfect. And they'll just copy that little piece of thing. So at the time, I was just like, you know what, whatever. And eventually tools got better. They came out with stuff like Cursor, Replit, Windsurf, lots of stuff. And now whenever I build, like how I build now is like nothing like I used to build like 2 years ago.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Where do you see the future of it going? Do you see it being something that they kind of call on specialists like you to kind of be a mercenary to solve quick problems? Do you think, what's the runway we have till, kids are vibe coding?
Well, kids are already vibe coding.
Yeah.
That's the best part. Like, I love it whenever I see like kids at hackathons and I'm like, this kid is going to kick all your guys' asses. Just watch it. And it's fantastic because, like, realistically, like, as long as you have the willingness to, like, hey, I need this done, I'm gonna just do it. Like, you're good. We're seeing though, like, it's just very expansive right now. Like, lots of people are getting into it. Lots of people are like starting to like come up to it again. Like, the kids are kind of amazing because we're even seeing like I've been approached by a couple different people with like different groups of also youth that like do computers and stuff, and like they're vibe coding, they're building product, they're building video games, and like it's really impressive to see.
That's super cool. That's super cool. Do you think, what kind of a mind do you think has an advantage to it? I've heard you on record talking about grit, kind of, that's where we started the idea of having you on I Will Not Lose podcast. Yep. Just the idea that, it's the journey, it's changing. It doesn't do the work and the thinking for you. It may do the work, but back to the question, what kind of mind do you think excels with these kind of tools right now?
So, it's kind of interesting because I mention a lot to people about like, if you don't know how to code, this is the best time to be able to do this because you won't build the same way that you would if you've been coding for 20 years. In fact, it's almost like a really hard, like something holding you back if you do know how to code because you're stuck with all these lessons that don't make sense with what you're doing and they scream, don't do this because it's going to screw everything up. But at the same time, it's like almost like a leap of faith. And a lot of people have faith in lots of stuff. So if you can see like, hey, just try this, see what happens, and they start seeing results, well, people that don't know how to code, they're not going to care that they don't, know how to code in the first place. They're just going to do it. And people that do know how to code, internally, it's like, well, I've been taught all this for all these years. All this screams everything, no. But do I do it? And it's really hard. So I think people that have open mindsets, people that are, if you're someone that like quickly adapts and picks up skills, like let's say you were like a music producer and then you want to learn video editing and then you want to do like if you're one of those people, this is the perfect time for you because the people that get the farthest on this are generalists, people that can pick up a lot of skills really quickly, just enough, and then just go because you can do way more with AI this way.
Yeah, that's insane. We had spoken about a week or so. No, it's been a few weeks at this point through a mutual friend. And Rene introduced me to vibe coding. And when you were saying about, just getting frustrated and saying, I'm going to get the AI to do it, there's a lot of guesswork over the past couple of years of how AI would disrupt and what it would do. How soon I see major companies, even Meta, making vibe coding, if not a hard requirement, it's starting to be looked at for employees, Mm-hmm. What's your prediction on it becoming almost like needing to know Microsoft Office in almost every job?
Well, I think let me give you an example of what I'm going to say. Back then, swords were extremely lethal and useful. Swords are still useful and lethal now. However, eventually the bow and arrow came along and it was a lot more efficient. Muskets came, the guns got better, the missiles got better, and just like things just eventually like outpace it. Yes, the sword is still very powerful in its own right, but compared to a bomb, it's kind of like lackluster. So what I'm seeing right now with this is that if you don't know how to vibe code and you are building in tech, you're going to get outpaced dramatically because the entire industry is building for that. They're building for quicker, more efficient things. And if you're going to keep using the sword, you cannot compete in war. So that's kind of like the only real thing I have to say about that.
No, that's fire. That's fire. That's a great outlook on it. These are new tools that, you are helping, and I know you know this, but for listeners that are just getting introduced to you, you are pioneering the way that, this may be an industry. The AI industry, the AI shift is here, whether or not we're out of the industrial revolution yet. And you have people like yourself meeting with top companies in the world, helping to shape how these tools work. I mean, is it a lot on your shoulders, or is this just who you were to stand out and this is just what you're doing now?
So I had a big beef back 2 years ago with people because whenever I was learning how to do this whole like AI coding stuff, people had a big problem with me because this was not something like you're supposed to be doing, and people would be like making fun of me. They would make all kinds of jokes and stuff, and I'm a person that likes to bully back. So I decided, like, all right, if this is going to be the line, then make sure you stay on that side whenever we go to war. So my goal is, I knew there's only 15 million people on this world that know how to be a full stack engineer. Mm-hmm. There's 5 billion people on this world with a phone. So if I flip the numbers and I start making it to where, like, hey guys, we have way more people that can all of a sudden build products better than you, faster than you, and like outscale you guys. Well, now I'm not supposed to be the leader, but I can flip the narrative and make it to where it's us versus them. And when you're competing against Rene, you don't necessarily win often.
There you go. Yeah, no, it shows. That's a curious strategy, so it's great because the world benefits. I think of like when Skype came across and disrupted communications. It's like, did it really disrupt it in a bad way? Even what we're doing right now, for my listeners that don't know, I'm on the East Coast, a few hours south of New York. May is in the Bay Area. So it's absolute no latency video communication. Even when Skype started, it wasn't that. And things come along, whatever drives people to always want to do faster, quicker, thinker, So let me change subjects. How do you focus on the human aspect? You see a lot of people saying that AI is, I've seen all sorts of rumors flying around, but people think of it as this bad thing that goes against human ingenuity. What's your thoughts?
Well, I don't blame them. In fact, I feel more for them than anyone around in this whole instance, because tech people kind of already know what we're doing. However, I think that this is also stems a lot from the unknown. And I think if people knew more and knew how it can help versus just harm, then I think we'd be having a lot different of a conversation. People love talking about how, man, I keep using fucking guns as analogies because I'm from Missouri. But people love talking about how, like, hey, guns they're dangerous. They kill people, but they also protect people. And the thing is, I understand people that would say, like, well, they still kill people, because you're right, they do, and I can't argue with you on that. But the only things I can say is that I can at least protect, because I can't stop other people, but I can control what I can do. So I can almost use it as like a way to be a mediator.
No, makes sense. And I get personally frustrated when you see people spreading rumors that haven't used AI, or they're thinking it's still just something to make essays.
That's okay.
I know you're not a huge GPT fan, but I just use that because that's what most people are familiar with. But you're leading the way. You spoke at WorldCoin. I saw the clip, a couple of clips that you had, being there, speaking, tearing the room down, speaking at vibe coding. Like you said to me, you were vibe coding before they called it vibe coding. And, now when they released GPT-5, they they had a whole section about how you can vibe code with it now. So is this catching fire?
So I have my own problems with GPT-5, and I don't even use GPT-5. My biggest problem with GPT-5 was actually the whole concept that they didn't want to go and allow any of the previous models, because what we've seen time and time again, every time they release one of these models, they release it and then they have to do like 20 iterations before it gets mediocre. And what we see is stuff like one time they had this situation where people have these like public shares, and you've probably seen this, where people's chats are just being shared and like all of a sudden they're being indexed by Google. Now you have all your private information and API keys all over the internet. I'm seeing that like it's just for a lot, like for anybody that's been building prior, it hurts those people. Anyone that has been a new user, it helps them because they don't know. But at the same time, if they're really needing to do a vibe coding section, they should make a separate product. AI models are AI models. Adding tools and adding infrastructure are one thing. But what they're wanting to do really needs to be its own product. You don't have, well, whenever you see Microsoft has a bunch of products. They have their own Word, they have their own system, they have like all these different things. ChatGPT is trying to shove everything into one little box and say like, oh, this is a standard. And realistically, I know that they're over, like, they're biting off more than they can chew. If they would just go and diversify it into a separate thing and into multiple things that were other niches instead of burning the whole fucking ocean, they'd be doing much better right now. But they're not.
No, I don't know if they can go back. So that's a great, I don't want to call it a hot take. That's just great insight in general.
Have you used Claude Code?
I haven't used Claude Code, but what am I using that has such outputs? I know it's built on Claude Code. Our boy Alex, I had to shout him out in this. Alex Cologne we've been in his Discord server, and he's been showing me Claude Code. But no, I've been stuck on Replit since you put me on it, burned through my usage, and about to start some more stuff.
You can use anything you want, brother. The only reason I brought this up, though, is because whenever Anthropic did Claude originally, Claude was a chatbot, and they had API. But when they went for Claude Code, they made a separate product for Claude Code.
Sure.
They didn't just pop that into their main, because it would not work anymore. It would not be the same product, which is why Claude Code works, because they fucking separated it. So
it reminds me of. I know we said off mic that you were replaying Final Fantasy, I think. Do you remember the gun blades where they're like, let's take this sword that works perfectly fine, this gun that works, and let's just combine them and make
Hell
the gun
yeah!
we use the
cool as fuck, bro. Cool as fuck.
Big sword. That's awesome. We'll put something. But no, you're right. Sometimes just a tool that does one thing. And that's what's been so interesting about watching the race. I loved that Mid-Journey was its own thing, because I don't think, I'm still a power user of ChatGPT, and I don't see a use to use it for image generation. It got better, but was still not the best if that's what you want to do. Now, I made it accessible for somebody who wasn't going to look at Mid-Journey, but hanging out in their Discords and seeing, what are they making for the commercial workflow? I've been working, at least for my legacy, I don't even know in a year if I'll be doing the creative services like I'm doing now, or maybe with a bunch of different AI tools and still connecting with people that don't want to learn the tools yet. But I have no idea what the landscape looks like, and credit usage, I don't think your average person is looking at. They just pay a monthly fee and they don't think, wow, there's people that use it more than me or less than me. So a lot of paradigm shifts that have to happen. And I don't know if it's going to take for voice to be super easy, where you can just tell your phone to do stuff and it goes into an agent mode, knows your intent, and does it.
So I think that's actually going to be very common very soon. I even met with I'm going to say this, and I'm just going to hope he doesn't get mad at me for saying this. So I met the other day with MC Hammer, and he has his own like AI phone coming out, and I know that's exactly what they're going to be making it do everything in your damn thing. They wanted to completely rebuild it and stuff. So I know that's going to be very popular.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. At least from a personal perspective, there's things that I want the AI to do. It's like, all right, it's already awesome that it does that, so it should be able to do this. And I'm like, I'm really on the edge of, okay, can I make it do this? And when I was watching the GPT-5, they introduced personalities in the voice where you can kind of have it switch into different modes. And I think it's hilarious because I've been doing that for a few months. I have different modes if I wanted to talk faster and give me tasks or what. And you kind of sit there and you think everybody thinks like this. Everybody thinks, well, it should be able to do this, or I should be able to switch it to New York accent. It should have different voices. And I get they want it to just work first, but to see them then add things that you've been on record trying to tell people, look, this is what it is. Does it ever drive you crazy? Or
I mean, it's one of those things that it's like, it's part of the industry. You just got to deal with it. It sucks.
Yeah. How many people would you say? I mean, is there, I've been tapping into communities of vibe coders. Big shout out to your boy Billy too. He spoke so highly of you.
That's my boy. I love that dude. That guy, I back him on everything. That guy's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were going back and forth on Messenger. I reached out to him just because I always see him in you and Alex's stuff. So trying to just get an idea of what sort of philosophies, what sort of mindsets, you have been on record just talking about being driven and just that workhorse ability. What do you feel sets you apart? Can anybody do what you do? I mean, your track record is in like the 10th of a percentile in multiple things.
Here's what I think, and I'll tell this. I tell this to like all my investors. I just got off of an investor call too. Anyone can do what I do. I graduated high school with D's. I dropped out of college my first semester because it was boring to me. I only learned how to do this shit in the last like 2 years. Anyone can do what I can do, but the reason why people won't be able to do it is only because I have more grit than people. I don't give up. I'm a surprise. People don't see me coming and they don't understand where this guy comes from because I don't have the background. And because I have these little advantages like not having a background, just being a regular dude, I can use that to take a market, and overnight people will be like, who was this? And that's part of it.
That's awesome. Is that something you recognize in yourself and now you just lean into?
It's more like, yeah, it's kind of something like I had to first figure out why. Like, someone one day asked me like, hey Rene, why are you always about like doing this stuff, but you're always telling people like all this, like, hey, you're just a guy, like don't tell people you're smart, like just like, oh yeah, you're just like some idiot or something. And the reason behind all this is because if you let people like underestimate you, you can really go way farther than where they think they are. So like if you're like, hey, this guy, he says he doesn't really know anything, but he can like maybe touch something. Let him try it. And I touch it, and all of a sudden it's like gold. Well, all of a sudden it's a completely different topic that we have to have, and it's just super useful for that type of stuff. Sorry, I know I just caught you.
It gets scary. No, I think it gets scary with people with, even though it's easy. I think the idea that it just does it for you is an interesting thing. Like, I'm in the creative services, I'm in the stuff with cameras. So people all the time will see you show up to a shoot and say, oh, the video is going to look great because that camera you have. It's like, oh, yeah, you want to borrow it? Like, here, take the camera. Big shout out to Alex Cook. He had told me that, and I'm like, yep, I'm stealing that. That's a good one, because even podcasting, people are like, oh, that's simple. Talk to me 2-3 years later when you're like, wow, it's every stuff. don't even know who's listening. I thought about, because I have the equipment, doing this live, but I'm like, no, you know, as smooth as this has gone, knock on wood, anything can happen. And I wanted to really be able to get some future predictions, because people don't always, like, the Monday that this drops, it may go viral, who knows? But
Who
that's not
knows?
the goal. It's more, let me get an idea to pick the brain. People have quoted you as the next Steve Jobs, and I wanted to spend some time talking about signal versus noise, and whether or not you know your ratio. You seem pretty high signal, you know, seem like you can lock in and really do the work past the point where your mind's shutting down, you know, and not everybody can do that. So,
Well, what I'm really seeing, I guess, is that like I already knew or at the beginning of the year, I knew that AI agent coding was about to be the next big thing. Because once I started Replit, like come out with Replit agent, and then like we started getting Cursor, I immediately knew like, oh, this is it. So what I'm starting to see is you have a ton of companies building AI agent products, and they are building also like ways to build code. So like building other cursors, other replets. But what I'm not seeing a lot of is tools that you can give someone that's going to be a vibe coder. That's more where I'm starting to like start having my company be, is that like as vibe coders, okay, they're going to have Replit or whatever, but once they build out their website, they're going to need other stuff. They're going to need customer service. They're going to need a CRM. They're going to need all this shit. So my concept for right now is I see a lot more, and this is like early, but I'm seeing other people around me that are competitors do the same shit now, where we're all just making it to where like we're going to empower vibe coders, because there's a giant market already of people that are paying $20 a month, $50 a month, $100 a month for their products, and then they're going to be willing to spend another couple dollars here and there on something that helps make them not have to do shit, because they're just one people companies.
Dude, I would pay even just for a library, almost like, remember jQuery back in the day, where I don't know if you were coding. I had some experience with coding when I was younger, just HTML. I know some CSS, and I led to go down the design end, like Photoshop, Illustrator, all that stuff. But I didn't know JavaScript, but there were libraries of stuff that said this is what it does, and you could just kind of cut it and paste it and put it into your code. It might have been sloppy, but it worked. Do you think the idea of vibe coding becomes more drag and drop for stuff, where there's a value for libraries to just say, hey, this dude did this cool, almost like an open source where, hey, I want to build it, but not copy it and change it, build something like it? I don't know.
Yeah, there is, because there will always be people trying to reinvent the wheel. It's always people trying to reinvent Zillow or Stripe or the next company. And that's okay, because that just allows you to build a much more competitive market.
That's fair enough. So 90 days from now, let's do a short-term and then a long-term prediction. And then we can get into agencies for a little bit.
Sure. Well, shit. In the next 30 days? Fuck. Man. I don't really know about the next 30 days, because I feel like a lot of the stuff right now is just noise. Even like all the new stuff that's been coming out, like whenever GPT-5 came out, like I just feel like all this is just like people launching stuff so that shareholders and people are happy. I'm not really seeing any of this being really new. I think in the next 90 days, though, we will be seeing more robotics. I think robotics is going to be like very hot. Robotics is going to be super hot. You're going to see a lot of people using AI to allow like micro stuff in your blood to like do stuff more together. Because right now, whenever you put like stuff into your body to do things, they're kind of like on this like very closed circuit idea that like if this, do this, if this, do this. And that's how that kind of stuff works. But I'm seeing now with AI, since it's so dynamic, we're going to have a lot more ways to even like help cure cancer and stuff. So that's what I'm excited about.
That's insanity. And I am on that side. I'm with you in terms of everything that can heal. I mean, like you said, fire, Do we say it burns people? So no more fire for the human race. It's kind of like education. We're not going to spend too much time getting on regulations or anything, but you used your skill set to build agencies.co. It's not spelled like agency, like a marketing agency. It's agent, like an AI agent or a double O agent. Agencies.co. I got that right?
Yeah. I hate talking about the names sometimes because I also get how hard it is to. If you tell them like, oh yeah, agencies.com, they'll type in the word agencies, and I'm like, there's a T in there also, by the way. Yeah. But that's a play on where like, oh, that's branding. Eventually, if the branding goes well, that'll be huge. If branding doesn't, oh well.
No, it's great. I've spent a long time in marketing, and it's great. And it's going to be a sleeper because agent is going to be a common, like, not everybody is aware of what we're even talking about when we say the agent. So I'll kind of give a metaphor for my listeners that are still listening that this didn't get too techie. But when you ask your phone, what's the weather? It has some settings like where you are, and it knows the weather all around the world, but it has to say what's specific to you, or it has to kind of know where you're going. And that's even a very smart version considered a calculator, which doesn't know what 2 + 2 is 4 is, but it'll always give you the right answer. When you get to something like an agent that has sources of databases of information it can call on, you can have it do things like draft emails, send invoices for you. It can operate your web browser for you. It's much smarter than finding out the weather. You could tell it to book a trip and check the weather someplace you're not. And these are just examples that healthcare industry is going to start taking over using these. You're going to see it in service. I have, shout out to Kripa. She is owner of Robot Lab. I just met with her last night at ribbon cutting, and she had one of her robots there programmed with AI and just interacting with people, passing information around. But she has clients where it's serving food. And I can't stress enough to people. That's why I do these series. It's here. It's not coming there. It's just the fact that people might be weird with getting served robot by a food. But
hey, I got a better one for you than food. How about have you ever seen a Robot Fight Club?
Robot Fight Club? I might have seen clips on something. I see some of the gyms do, but go ahead.
So basically, this was like 2 days ago. So here in San Francisco at the Frontier Tower, we had a Robot Fight Club happen where we had like robots fighting each other and people were just like, doing what happens on the background. But it was the most lit, coolest thing ever. And I think more people are going to start paying money to see these like robots fight in the ring. It's so entertaining. And then watching people fight robots is also really interesting.
People fighting robots, that gets a little bit weird.
It's trippy as fuck, bro.
I would, not for nothing, I would, even just for training, I train jujitsu, like to have another body that knows how to resist but a little bit to go through killing or things. But yeah, gyms do it mostly as a mock around, like they'll have a combat fighting. So I was aware of the concept. Haven't seen a robot fight. I would be curious if it just strikes, if it's just like a really good Muay Thai stroker, or if you could teach it like some jujitsu and it grapples a bit and it's hard to hold down.
So from what I've seen, it's like people that are like building their own. So I'm sure they can train it to do whatever.
Oh, it's not all humanoid. It's back like when we did it's like BattleBots.
These are
BattleBots.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's basically that, except like robots that are like humanoids.
Oh, geez, that's sick.
Dude, it was so cool. Like you need to come out here to San Francisco sometime, bro. We got coolest shit ever.
I am. I've been connecting with a couple people now. I built this streaming setup just to play around with streaming. Did nothing with it, but almost everybody I've been connecting with on Threads is like a DJ out that way, a producer out that way. So I've already said I just need enough people that I could go meet, figure out, because I'm sure an Airbnb in the Bay Area is not exactly the cheapest, but
I mean, it's like the same as rent. It's like $3,000 a month.
Oh, I wouldn't be. You want? He wants me to go out for a month.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do like a couple days or something, but we'll figure it out. I have a no. Honestly, it was a big step to do the remote interviews and get all the tech set up.
Yeah.
And then your boy Billy took one look at my setup, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you can send sound at the speed of light if you just do this setup, build it on top of your existing server." And I'm like, so I gotta stop hanging out with you guys. Like, you guys will tell me all the I made my last WordPress site ever. Like, after using Replit for a couple days, I went back and tried to update a page, and I was like, wait, I can't just click this, edit it, and tell it to do it. It feels so archaic. But
I'm glad you like Replit now.
no,
It's
for
just,
sure.
it's so easy. Clients love it. They get their shit gone. We're good. We make money.
Yeah, and I think that it's only going to get smarter. There's some places where it gets hicked up and it helps to just know logically. I don't think it would run into this bug if it just did this first and let it go and run for a little bit. But it's going to predict those sorts of things. It's going to get better.
So
yeah.
that's actually something very interesting you brought up. That is a skill a non-engineer will have over an engineer. That
Makes
type of
sense.
problem solving is very hard for traditional engineers because they can't see in their head how some of that payload works. But because you are not, you can pick it up way differently.
That's super, super cool, man. And I see you still getting excited, like you're like showing a younger nephew E.T. or whatever Frozen. You know, you watch it a ton of times, and you watch it with a kid, and they're all excited and hyped up. It's like it's cool. But I don't want to call myself smart, but I'm observant enough to realize what parts you're playing in this whole thing. I'm glad to kind of have a hand in it and see how we can push each other back and forth to do stuff, you know. But how long are you on this route? Do you have you're raising venture capital right now? Do you want to shout out and talk a little bit about that, and we can land the plane?
Sure, why not? Currently, so agencies, which is my AGI agent framework, it's basically Intercom / Zendesk as one product. With investors right now, we've raised already 20K. We're raising 500K on a safe note, on a 3 mil eval. And right now we have like 20K already in. We just got done talking with another investor today. Let's see where it goes. It seems like that might close, and if it closes, we might have a lot of money taken care of. So we'll see what happens, but it's very cool. Right now, just raising cash happens.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So for those of you that don't know the software Zendesk that he compared it to, I am a user of agencies.co. It's a shameless plug. If you go to tothedesigner.com, you can talk with my agent that I built in about 5-10 minutes. Got it up quicker, but spent some time to make it a little bit smarter so that it knows some of my terms and it's like a FAQ page. It's an AI agent chatbot that knows your pricing, knows your style, can answer things, can give people links to specific pages. And all you do is describe it in a prompt and put a little bit of code on your page or send it to your developer, and it's up and running. It's absolutely amazing. And when I got it running, I'm like, I got to interview this guy.
Thanks.
That's
so
it.
Was it relatively easy then for you?
It was. What I would say is that I am and this is good, I'm a tweaker. Like, I would get the Stream Deck over the Legion Go because I want to be able to customize it or run a different operating system. So it gave me just enough that I felt good adding for lack of a better term, the resource database. Mm-hmm. But just out of the box, if you tell it to be something, I can see if I was like a baker or something, how much knowledge it has right out of the box where you can just say, I want you to be a baker, boom, put the code on, and now somebody's talking. So I took more time than somebody normally would, but I'm glad that I could take more time. It makes it way more impressive.
Cool. I'm very happy. And how long do you think it took, like, in general, like, since you did take more time, how long do you think it took, like,
15, 20 minutes maybe. I mean,
okay, not bad. That's pretty good.
Well, I had things like my terms and conditions, my pricing. It was interesting. I actually had it pull pricing that was up already. So it was able to make a pricing sheet and then just throw that into it. So combination of ChatGPT and the agencies and existing stuff that I already had. So we can talk
Hell yeah.
more about some ways, some kind of hiccups that I had, but
Sure.
it's super solid product. The UI looks good. It wasn't hard to find anything. And I think if I want to commend you on the ability to name or the ability to have thing, like the Neuralink is great. No spoilers, guys. Go to agencies.co and check it out. But it has a name or a brand. It's like you leaned into that 90s hacker, and I loved it.
Thanks.
Loved it,
I
man.
appreciate it.
Cool. So anything else cool in the horizon you want to drop? Any predictions you want to do? I'm going to chop this up, and people check out these interviews 2-3 years later. People still check out my first ones. So
Hell
anything
yeah.
you want to put in a time capsule?
Yeah. I think we'll see our first $1 billion company within a year.
All right. At the time of recording this, it's about August 10th, 2025. I should have did that when I made my predictions with ChatGPT, because they're resurfacing now. People are going to think that I just said it. Like, dude, it's August 2025 and AI is going to change the world. Yeah, it was a lot more impressive when people didn't know what it was. But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think that the solopreneur, and I recognized this about a year and a half ago, when I tell people what I do, they don't ask how, but if they did, it's leveraging AI tools. It was always a speed runner, but if I have a specific camera and I need to find it on eBay and that takes me 40 minutes to cross-reference, but I can just have an agent give me a list of 7 based on different filters, or take it a step further and say, look for a description where the person doesn't know what they're selling. They found it in an estate sale or something. You know how many lenses are chilling out there for like $50 because they all look the same? People don't know what the numbers mean. So it's like running a podcast, 2 businesses, and training jujitsu. Still have time to grow my Stardew Valley farm almost every other week. So I'm doing it,
I feel it, brother. I feel it, brother. I appreciate being here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man. Glad to be connected. I'm going to kill the recording, but stick around for 1 second.
Cool. Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to another episode of I Will Not Lose podcast. To support the show, visit iwillnotlosepodcast.com. You can subscribe to your favorite podcast player, share the episode link, leave a comment. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. And if you're listening in and can't see the QR code for donation, go to tothedesigner.com/links, and there's instructions to donate up there. Thanks so much.